Man, that was a good show today. But guess what? We're still here. For those brave enough to hang around, man, are you in for a treat? Welcome to the Gun Talk After Show. This is where we exhale and loosen up a little bit and maybe handle some of the issues that were either too strong for the radio or maybe that we just didn't have time for. So let's get Tom back in here along with show producer Jim Kinsey, Michael, and Michelle. Now, the Gun Talk After Show. Take it away, guys.
All right, this is the After Show. I'm glad that everybody could hang in there. We got some callers. We got, we have Michael and Michelle because we got rid of Jim. Yay!
It's a party.
Actually, Jim had to go do a benefit deal. He's a musician and playing some gig and helping out some young ladies. So good for him. It's always a good thing.
He does lots of that stuff.
Yeah, he does, and I'm trying to get him over that. He's become a curmudgeon, a bad old gunner, and never help anybody out like the rest of us.
Nice.
So how's your guys' week?
Excellent.
I've been very busy and very well off, too.
Good deal. Oh, I just got an email. I got to read this email for you guys. You'll appreciate it. First, it says, thanks for the recommendation. He says, been listening for a while. You recommended on the air that a person in Salt Lake City, Utah area contact Clark Aposhian for training and instruction. I did just that and realized something huge. I didn't even know what I did not know.
So true.
He's an excellent instructor and very influential here in Utah for gun rights. Says he basically retaught my concealed carry course that I had taken a few years ago and spent 3 full days doing it. And the only reason I'm reading this is because this is what I keep telling people, if they would go take a class like this somewhere with a good instructor, what a difference it makes. He says, I was skeptical at first, but it was money well spent. I can't even believe that I was thinking of carrying to the extent that I was without this instruction. I have switched my carry firearm and method I carry in addition to so many other things about the way I conduct myself out and about as well as at work and at home while in my car, shopping, etc. Just basically, what you guys already know is if you've never done a class like this, you simply don't know all the information that's out there that you haven't been told.
That's very true, Tom. Not only that, but even if you've taken these courses and it's been a while, a refresher course and maybe from a different instructor or the same one, if you had a great experience, is something that we recommend all the time.
That is a great point.
Yeah, just freshen up on things. You get into bad habits. Again, you don't even realize you have that bad habit until you go through training.
Mm-hmm.
What you're really doing is hiring yourself a set of eyes to watch you do this. But also, you just forget stuff. You say, I took that class, and then you think, it's a couple of years ago. Then you look and go, no, actually, it was 5 years ago.
And when it's the first time that you've ever sat in on the class, there's so much to take in. You can't possibly focus and take in everything.
That's a great point, actually, yes.
Yeah, it's that fire hose deal where you think you're getting it, but actually a lot of it's going right past you. It's just too much.
Right.
Plus, it's invigorating to get out and shoot with somebody new. You learn things, not only maybe what you're doing wrong, but you can watch somebody else and see kind of the mistakes they're making, too, to learn from that.
Well, we've just seen that come true in the unfortunate shooting, that happened in the West. Training is everything, and not just on the shooter side, but on the instructor side as well.
Made me wake
exactly.
up. Like the gentleman that called in and said, well, maybe he was standing on the wrong side. That's not only a good point, but it made me, because I do a lot of instruction, too, kind of think to myself, am I always as safe as I could be? And that's, I think, a question everybody should ask themselves.
Well, and anybody who's an instructor needs to be going and getting instruction.
Mm-hmm. Right. Keep yourself fresh.
Not only just like an instructor or take a class for instructors, but just go take a basic class from somebody who's really good at it and watch how he or she teaches, and you're going to pick up so much that you're going to go back and say, I'm going to use that. That was cool. And if you took a class before you were a trainer and then you take a class after you're a trainer, you will see so many things that you didn't see when you went into it originally as a student. Because now you're seeing it through the eyes of a trainer. You go, oh, okay, I see what they're doing there. I see why they're doing that. It's just a whole different experience.
And you learn what doesn't work. I can't tell you how many things I used to do, as far as instruction goes, that I don't do anymore because I don't find it to be effective. And it just takes going out, taking more classes with these good instructors. You pick up so much just by watching.
Well, I will tell you, virtually everything I know I stole from every other people that I've been with on the range. Every trainer I've been with, I borrow ideas from. I didn't invent any of this stuff that I pass along. I'm just recycling it, really.
Right. And nothing's new. It's just new again.
Yeah. Boy, isn't that the truth? It absolutely is. All right, let's see what I've got here, guys. I think I've got Lee on line 1 out of Reno, Nevada. Let's pull him in. Hey, Lee, how you doing?
I'm very good, sir.
Good. You got what kind of AR you got there?
Oh, I have a Bushmaster, but it's an M4 clone, and what I was thinking of doing was putting the 6.5 Grendel. I believe is what it is.
Yeah, 6.5 Grendel. Yeah.
Yeah, and I was thinking that it's going to have to be at least a 20-inch or 22-inch barrel to utilize that cartridge. But I was thinking with a scope, you could easily carry that, and it would then give you some range.
Absolutely. Then the 6.5, of course, is a great caliber, and you can get 120 grain, 123 grain, 130 grain bullets, and you're looking at 2,500 to 2,700 feet per second. That becomes, are you thinking about using that for hunting?
Yes.
That would be a great hunting round, actually. And with the good bullets we have now, I think that would work. I'm guessing you're talking about probably whitetail?
No. We have mule deer over here.
Oh, that's right. You're in Nevada, mule deer. So, where you are, you could do mule deer, you could do antelope, depending on where you're hunting, but it would work fine for any of those, and it would be honest 500-yard rifle without any problem at all.
500? I was hoping for more.
Oh, it'll do. Well, it'll do more. I just don't know if Lee can do more.
I used to be steadier.
Okay,
now,
well, yeah.
You have another something now. I've always, last time I prefaced our conversation that I would have liked to have talked more about guns, but it's back to politics again.
Yeah.
I was probably the first one to call up and say what was taking place in our legislature, which our governor did not sign, and if he had signed it, it would have been this background check. You couldn't give a gun to a son, daughter, or whatever. Now, I believe that they're going to try to have it on our fall election. And I remember that once I called, there was fellows that were far more eloquent than myself and knew a little bit more about it. And next week, during the regular show hours, if you could bring that up and get somebody to call in from Nevada, they are planning on this fall putting that on the ballot.
Okay, I tell you what, we'll check on that, and we'll get somebody from Nevada out there, because that's what I was talking about earlier in the show, guys. And look, Lee, thank you for the call. I was talking about the fact that they do it in one state, and they pick up the exact same wording and they drop it into another state, and they can always get some legislator to introduce it, the bill, put it on the ballot, and then we're off and running. So the whole idea of, if you wanted to, like if I came over and said, Michael, I want to, can I borrow that gun? I want to take that thing out. I've ever shot a 6.5 Grendel. And you go, yeah, sure. Well, before I could do that, I'd have to go get the FBI to do a check on whether I could borrow a gun from you and take it to the range and then come back. And then when I come back, when I give it back to you, that's another transfer. Now we're going back to the store and doing another FBI NICS check at whatever price the store is going to charge for that.
But, it's so redundant, because it's already illegal for me to loan you a gun if I know you're a felon. You know what I mean? So we've already got a law in the books to prevent that. What's an extra law? We already know that laws don't legislate behavior. So what is this supposed to do other than curtail more rights? That's it.
This is designed to kill gun shows.
And tax. Yeah, they're going to tax the heck out of it.
Well, I don't know about the taxing, but what they also know is that gun stores are not going to do the checks. Michelle, you know this from running a gun store. I don't know how many private transfers there are just in sales. With that, forget all the rest of the foolishness. But then if you have, when you loan a gun to somebody, you got to do a background check on it. You couldn't handle that much volume of background checks in a store, could you?
No. I mean, that, depending on where you are, obviously could make a big difference with that. But I got to believe that would be one person's full-time job. And it could be several of them done in the same day. I mean, if you're going out.
A department dedicated to that,
Right. Well, what a paper trail nightmare. I mean, it's already a tough situation with all the paperwork that we have to file and changes that we have to keep up on and new reports that we have to send and new forms that we have to fill out, that I can't imagine this.
And for a gun store, if you're not making any money off the sale of a gun, then you're going to have to get enough money from doing this transfer check that it's worthwhile.
Right, and people already get upset with the fees that some charge for transfers. But gosh, the logistics and paperwork and tracking that you have to do is tremendous.
It absolutely is.
Plus, there's no room for error. I mean, the first thing that happens if you screw up a decimal point on one of these forms is you're going to get rated, or you're going to have everything under scrutiny. And
oh yeah,
yeah, you transpose two numbers. I mean,
right.
Literally. I mean, I know a guy that he says they were in there for, I think he said for 2 weeks, in his store for 2 weeks, and checking. Said, yeah, they wrote me up on several violations. So he had one guy who, on the form where it says you put your country. It says county. It says what county you're in.
Right, what county do you reside in?
Right, what county you reside in, and he put USA. Because he looked at it and thought it said country. Well, I'm sorry, that's a violation. You're going, really?
Oh my God.
I mean, it says the city that he's in. It has his address. It has his zip code. It's got, everything. And it's a violation because he didn't put the name of the county in there. I mean, it's not like somebody's going to not know who he is or where he lives.
Yeah, it's not like he gave a fake name or lied about his criminal
It's all
history,
there. It's just, but that's the kind of stuff that if you run a gun store, that's the kind of stuff you're watching out for. So you have to go back and read every line when people fill it out. And I bet you correct that stuff in a store several times a week.
There's times with one transaction that, I mean, and no joke, it's an honest mistake, and then you get more nervous about it. But, it'd be nothing to go through several forms before it's done correctly. And it does get frustrating. It gets frustrating on, the person's side that's trying to fill out the paperwork and do everything the legal way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you're saying, okay, there's this whole column, and you got to go, yes, no, yes. You go, okay, which one do I say yes to? Which one do I say no to? And that whole deal.
Yeah.
It's a mess.
I don't know. Maybe I'm the only one, but I always feel really funky when I'm filling out one of those background check forms. Like, I'm doing something wrong, or I don't know. Maybe it's just me. I mean, I've always passed them, obviously, but
no, it's not just you. It is. It's an irritation. It is an infringement. It is an insult.
Really?
That we have to do it at all. Because it hasn't resulted in any reduced crime whatsoever. Bad guys don't do this. That's just by nature. That's what they do. They don't do that. And so the fact that we have to do it, we resent it, and we should.
Well, I don't feel so bad now.
No, you don't. It's okay.
You're not alone, Michael.
Okay,
just hold on to that thought. That's right. I tell you what, let's go line 2. Aaron's with us out of Pensacola, Florida. Hey, Aaron, you're on Gun Talk.
Hey, Tom, how you doing? Hey, I'm actually in the market for a bullpup, and I've recently run across the IWI Tavor, and I wanted to know what you thought of it.
Interesting you asked that. The Tavor gets mixed reviews. We shot it a little bit. I don't have much experience with it. I think it's kind of cool. I'm not sure if I'm yet a fan of bullpups in general. One of the issues with the Tavor, I think, is the way that it comes from the factory. The trigger is not real good. And I know that Timney Trigger has a replacement aftermarket trigger for it, which is going to make it better. It's not going to make it a match trigger, but, it's an okay trigger. What's your thinking? You just interested in it because it's cool?
I've got a buddy of mine who's got a Steyr AUG 2, I believe, and I like the bullpup system because it's just easier for me to hold sight if I'm shooting, just no support at all, just standing straight up shooting because the weight's all in my shoulder. And I thought that was pretty cool. I didn't necessarily like the Steyr because his had issues. Now his is the only one I've shot, and he's sent it to since I've shot it, he sent it to a gunsmith, and he's had it correct, and he says it's great now. And like you, I've talked to people who are more knowledgeable than myself about the bullpups or this weapon in particular. They say some of them say it's great, and some of them say not so much.
That's what I get. And so I don't, and not having enough personal experience, I can't really say, well, I like it or don't. I just, when you go out to the range, you shoot a couple of dozen rounds through it. That doesn't tell you anything, really.
Yeah, I haven't shot the Tavor yet, but I mean, the operation of it, I've handled them. I've obviously they give it to you here, buy this.
Let me ask you a question. Would you ever consider going with an AR system and going with an SBR, short barrel rifle setup?
Short barrel, is that the pistol system of it, or
no? It's a short. You could get like a 9-inch barrel instead of a 16-inch barrel. Now you have to pay the $200 tax like it's a suppressor. But now you can have a really short-barreled rifle And an AR system, it's really short, but it has all of the reliability of AR systems, and you can use all the accessories and triggers and sights and parts and everything else as an AR. All you've done is just shorten the barrel on it. It costs you $200 to shorten it, but you're good to go.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
And also, if I have a little latitude here, your question about the AR platform, hunting with the AR platform, not me personally, but I know a lot of guys that I shoot with on the range or whatnot, they use the AR platform to clear their land of hogs.
Oh, yeah.
Not necessarily an AR-15. Most of them go with 300 Blackout or the AR-10.
Right, with 308.
Yeah, and they kill hogs left and right with them.
Well, the thing there is usually there's a lot of them, and AR is perfect hog medicine. It'll definitely do the job. So there you go. Hey, listen, I appreciate the call, Aaron. I don't know if I can help you with the IWI, but look into short barrel rifle, SBR. You can buy the uppers with a short barrel. All you need to do is do the $200 tax. It's the same as the federal tax on a suppressor or a machine gun. And you get that, and you're perfectly legal, and those are pretty sweet. And if you really want to go and have a cool rig, go with an SBR and get a suppressor for it. Now we're talking. Now we're really having a bunch of fun.
I want one.
I knew you would. Michael, have you shot any SBRs?
Short-barreled rifles, I think a few. It's been a long while. I'm pretty sure that one of Jim's buddies brought a few of them out a couple years ago.
They're
I got it mixed up because we had some full auto guns here too, and I was really, really paying attention to that.
Yeah, you're shiny. I like the full auto. Yeah, exactly. Tell you what, before we get to Jeffrey, why don't we take a quick break and we'll come back. Jeffrey, don't go anywhere. We're going to get to you. This is Gun Talk. We will be right back.
Tired of paying for one concealed carry holster after another that's flimsy, hard to hide, or just plain uncomfortable? Alien Gear holsters feature a super stealthy and ultra comfortable design. Our professional quality holsters are backed by an ironclad triple guarantee, including a free 30-day test drive, free shell traits for life, and a forever warranty. Starting at just $29.88, you won't find a better quality or better priced holster on the planet. Any planet. Go to aliengearholsters.com to get yours now.
All right, we are back now. It is the after show on Gun Talk. We got Michelle and somewhere she's running around the studio, and Michael's with us. She's back. The prodigal daughter returns, or whatever.
We don't get warning. She just disappears.
She's gone. She's back. You know, she's acting in the back room reloading. I don't know what's going on.
Oh, I didn't think you heard that.
Yeah, choo-choo, choo-choo, choo-choo. Yeah, exactly. What you need is one of those automatic deals. You can just hit the foot button down there on the floor, and it just progressives that just run.
That's right.
Oh, that would be helpful.
Oh, those are cool. If you haven't seen those, they've got them that you could crank out gazillions of rounds. The only problem is now you have to have a buddy who sits there and fills the hoppers with brass and primers and puts all of the parts in for you. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's right.
I'd like to get one of those little single-stage guys, though. I mean, just to start out with. I doubt I'd ever produce a whole lot, but, man, what a great learning experience. I've never done it.
You never done any reloading?
No. I've watched it, and I've helped with, like, my uncle, but I've never done it.
Well, it's fun. I mean, it's just the whole idea of making your own ammo and going out and shooting it is cool.
Right. You can also, really, really try out within spec different combinations and see what your gun likes the best. That's cool too.
Yeah, fully customize your ammunition. Changes everything though. It can change your accuracy. It can change the range effectiveness. There's all kinds of things to play with.
Recoil, sure.
Absolutely.
Well, I'll tell you what happens is when you get into it, it becomes its own entity, and now you're tinkering because you can, and going, well, what if I used a lighter bullet? Well, I'll load some of those up and try those. What if I use the heavy bullet? What if I do, and it just becomes a fun thing to do in and of itself. You're really...
I would have labeled boxes,
Oh,
so
absolutely.
What you're shooting.
Yes, you do. You're going to have plastic boxes of ammo and label makers and
MTM will love you.
That's right. Yeah. We all have our MTM boxes everywhere, don't we?
That's right.
One more hobby.
It's a hobby within the shooting hobby. Absolutely.
The great enabler again.
The minimum family at MTM. Great people, by the way.
Yes.
Let me get to Jeffrey because I know he's been on hold for a while. Line 4. Hey, Jeffrey, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm good. You can tell we're kind of having a lot of fun around here.
A lot of fun.
How can we help you?
Well, first I had a range report for you. I recently graduated from your alma mater at the University of Missouri with a master's degree, and my wife bought me a Savage Mark II TR for a graduation present.
Oh.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
That is a great wife you got there.
I'm telling you, I'm going to keep her, I think. If she'll keep me. I put a Redfield Revenge 6 to 18 power scope on it, and it's 22, and I'm closer to a half inch than an inch at 50 yards with it with 5 shots.
Oh.
And that's just a lot of fun. My 12-year-old daughter was a little bored with just punching holes in paper, so she came up with the idea of we're going to go on an animal cracker safari.
Oh, gosh.
So we've been shooting animal crackers with it. Her next idea is we're going for gummy bears next time.
Oh, yeah.
Going on a bear hunt. I love animal. Now, what range are you shooting the animal crackers?
50 yards.
Wow.
50 yards.
They can get away from you at that range. Mm-hmm.
I tell you what, and you're not in danger of those lions going crazy on you at 50 yards. So.
Yeah, and the great part is you talk about totally biodegradable. The first rain that comes along, they're gone, or just leave them out there and the birds will pick them up.
Absolutely. And just big smiles on our faces when we were doing that. It was a lot of fun. One of us was on the spotty scope so we could watch, and the other was shooting, and we just had a lot of fun with it. But it's a great rifle and very accurate, and I'm just thrilled with it. So.
That is great. And it's got a great trigger, doesn't it?
Oh, it does. Wow, probably the best trigger I've ever shot. It was fantastic.
Put a scope on it and go to town. All right, but you got a question or something on ghost ring sights?
Over the years of listening to you, I've heard you talk about the XS sights and ghost ring sights. So I've got a little Marlin 336, an old one, and I bought the ghost ring sights from XS, and I can't figure out what the heck I'm doing with this. And apparently it's a common problem for a lot of people that just aren't knowing what they're doing with this. And I read on XS Sight's website, you're not supposed to try to center the sight. You're just supposed to... And I'm shooting 10, 12 inches high, and I don't know what to do with the thing. And I was hoping you might could kind of illuminate the situation on how to use a ghost ring sight and what that sight picture should actually look like.
I mean, it really should be as simple as centering the top of the front sight in the center of the ring of the aperture on the back. So you've got you say it's a Marlin 336?
Yeah.
Okay, and you got the XS Sight's ghost ring on the back. Did you replace the front sight?
I did. I put the XS Sight post that was supposed to be paired with that ghost ring.
Right. And it's hitting 10 to 12 inches high at 100 yards?
50 yards, actually.
That's even worse.
Yeah.
That's not good.
Yeah, so it really should be as simple as a fuzzy ghost ring in my vision and a sharp front sight, roughly centered.
I'm trying to remember, is there any elevation adjustment available in the rear sight on that ghost ring?
Yeah, the way that works, you've got a set screw for windage, for windage adjustment, and you release one of those set screws, and then you can turn the actual sight itself up or down, and then you just put the set screw back to the original place, and so you've got windage and elevation on that rear sight. You've
done all of the vertical adjustment, taking that sight down. You want the rear sight to go down as far as it can go.
Yeah, I did, and I still was off. At that point, I was probably 6-8 inches off when I went all the way down.
Have you called the guys at XS Sights?
I have not. I really felt like it was just me not knowing what I was doing, because it's a different sight picture than anything I've ever shot through before.
It is. If you've not shot with aperture sights before, it's different. But at the same time, it shouldn't be difficult. Now we're shooting off of sandbags, right?
Well, I'm shooting off a plastic rest. Just one that's out of the range. And I realized to really dial it in, I should be on sandbags. But I didn't think I'd have a 6 to 12 inch variance from not being on sandbags.
Well, you need something padded on there, because if you've got the rifle resting on hard plastic, there is the very real tendency of it to jump up off of there, and high hits are real common when that happens.
Okay, so I will take sandbags with me next time.
Or even if you fold up an old towel or something to use padded on there, but you just don't want hard on hard with the fore end of the rifle resting on something hard.
Well, I really love the idea. Now, it's a light, handy little lever-action rifle, and the idea of that fast target acquisition, as I've read about it and heard about it, just sounded really great.
Well, I'll tell you what, and if it doesn't work, if that doesn't work for you, call Excess Sights, ask to speak to Bo Wallace, and tell him that I sent you, and say, hey, Bo, I got this problem, and Bo is like really good shooter and really good gunsmith and knows his stuff, and he can talk you through it.
Okay, great.
All righty, good. Hey, look, thank you for the range report on the Savage. That is terrific, and I love the Animal Cracker Safari. That is terrific.
It's awesome.
All right, thanks so much. I appreciate the call, sir. Had you guys ever heard of that?
What, the ghost ring?
No, the Animal Cracker Safari.
Oh, well, I was just thinking,
Is that
no,
cool?
but I'd have a problem eating them all up before I shot them.
There is that, too. You have to have like several boxes, one for back at the shooting position and one out of the target position.
One for me, one for the 9, one for
there
me,
you
one
go.
for the 22.
There you go. I'm liking the idea. And you know what? We talk about taking kids out and have them have fun. What a fun target, because when you hit it, it's just going to disappear. Pow!
That's right.
A little powder, really.
Shoot them with a 22, they're going to shatter. I mean, it's like instant feedback. You love it.
One of my favorite targets to shoot at are those giant novelty gummy bears you get at like the mall or Kroger or whatever. We're talking like the 8-inch tall gummy bears. Oh, man, are they fun to shoot at.
Those are actually just chewable ballistic gelatin.
They really are.
Only a shooter would think that, right?
That's right. But it doesn't make us bad.
You put them in a conga
I'm not saying
line.
that, yeah.
You put them in a conga line, you could stop a 22 after like 5 or 6 gummy bears,
Okay, I mean, I feel a YouTube video coming on here. Okay, we're going to get like 40 pounds of gummy bears and see what we can do with
I'm off
that.
tomorrow. We could probably do this.
There you go. Oh, my gosh. I'm actually, I think we're going to be getting in some different kinds of ballistic gel. When I get it in, well, I'll let you know. We're going to do some testing.
Now, does that stuff come in a powder?
It's a powder, and you have to mix it up at a certain temperature, and then you have to keep it cold or cool, and you have to refrigerate it, and it's a major pain in the rear. And there's a company called Clear Ballistics, and they have clear ballistic gelatin that they will ship to you in a block, ready to go. So we're talking with them about getting some of their stuff in here to use for some of our videos. So if we get it in, I'll give you my own range report. We'll see how that stuff works.
Yeah, I would think for you in your area it would be very tough to accommodate the temperature change.
It's tough. What you have to do is you take a lot of ice chest full of blocks, gel blocks. So you have to have a big old refrigerator, because trust me, your wife does not want you to put 6 or 10 ballistic gelatin blocks in the refrigerator. I mean, all it is especially dense Jell-O. I mean, it's literally Jell-O. It's just like twice as thick as regular Jell-O.
This is a whole new idea to shooters.
Yeah.
Jell-O shooters.
Jell-O shots.
God.
Jell-O shots. I love it.
That's cool. No, I didn't even put 2 and 2 together. I looked over. She's laughing. I'm like, what?
I'm sorry.
Over my head.
Yeah, just
it just
follow.
went zing right past you there. Oh, gosh.
Ba-bum-bum.
You can
That's
see,
right.
We need to get out of the range more or something.
Well, you know what happens? And I mean, you get to where a lot of the things that you see and hear throughout the day, you can somehow find a connection to shooting. And if it's like, okay, well, you're going to be in room 308. Oh, cool. I like that.
Sweet.
I can remember that one. Yeah. It is amazing how many times I've had and with all the travel we do, a hotel room, I'm going, 223, got it. Not a problem. I can remember that one.
You're calling request rooms in advance.
Yeah, exactly.
264, my favorite.
264. I got 458. Yeah, okay, that's going to work for me. I mean, and of course, and it's all going on inside your head, and nobody knows this thing's going on. You're going, yeah. Let me ask you: do you ever find yourself someplace and you're looking and you're going, yeah, that's probably looks like about 300 yards. I could make that shot.
All the time.
I mean, true. It's true, right?
All the time.
Yeah, okay, that's about... I've actually gotten to where I'm driving in the car and going, okay, that's about, I'm going to guess, 800 yards. And then you look at the odometer, and you're because now that we're doing all this long-range competition rifle shooting, you're trying to guesstimate. How far is that? And so it becomes a game for you as you go along.
Yeah.
Ah, well, this
See, I'm kind of the same way. I go to garage sales, I see old beat-up electronics, and I'm like, I want to shoot at that. So I'm known to pick up old TVs and stuff.
No. Really?
Yeah. Oh, they make great targets, as long as you clean up after yourself.
Now, when you shoot a cathode ray tube, an old TV, they really kind of pop and go
I don't
up,
recommend
don't they?
that. Mostly because they also have capacitors in them, and if you're not careful, you could give yourself a lethal dose of electricity when cleaning up. So you got to be really careful with those CRTs.
I don't want to do that.
No. But, like old record players and stuff, that's fair game.
But old computers, you kind of take your frustration out on your old
the old Mac that Jim replaced, we took that beast outside last couple of months, and it's a piece of Swiss cheese right now.
So you don't have to reboot anymore.
No.
So just reload.
Bye-bye, Mac OS 10.4.
Okay, there's a new bumper sticker. Don't reboot, just reload.
I love it.
I would put that on the truck.
Yeah, you would. Then you get pulled over. What is that about? Okay. No, all right, you'll love this one, Michelle. A buddy of mine owns a gun store here. He was at a gun show coming back, and it gets stopped by a police officer. They're going too fast. And he has this permit. He gives him the permit for concealed carry permit. He says, do you have any other guns in the car? He says, yes, I do. He says, well, what do you have? He says, well, I've got 2 Brownings, 3 Savages, a couple of Winchesters. And the policeman says, sir, I ask you a serious question. Thinking he's messing with him. And he says, well, actually, I gave you a serious answer. So I'm coming back from a gun show, and they're all in the back. He says, really? And a few minutes later, they're in the back, and both of them are looking at all the guns. Wow, that's cool.
And an enabling situation.
That's right. That's right. We've heard of a teachable moment. There you go. It's an enabling situation. I like it.
Oh.
Yeah. So there we go. You're going, well, what if it's like, when they are on the red carpet, they say, who are you wearing? We're always saying, well, what are you shooting? What have you got there? Well, I got a 10 millimeter. You got a 10? Okay. That's the strangeness. And now we're about to go out. All next week we'll be doing the second run of our first-person offender show that we're shooting. And so
cool.
Last time, we were setting a little 13-year-old girl on fire. That was always fun.
What?
Oh.
Yeah.
We did a scenario. It was actually from Crimson Trace's files of it actually happened. This guy was going to set this woman on fire, and a police officer came in and had to shoot him. So we took this father and his 13-year-old daughter, and they don't know what the scenario is going to be. And so when the father comes around the corner, and they're doing simunitions and all, we've got a can of gas, and we don't have any real gas in it, but it's like we're pouring it on her, and she's screaming for her daddy, and she's falling on the ground, and the bad guy's screaming, I'll set you on fire! And he's got a cigarette lighter in his hand, and now we see what the dad does.
Wow.
It was intense. I'll give you a hint. On the first go-round, he ran out of ammo, and he was so into the scenario, he flipped the gun around, so he's holding on to the barrel of this semi-auto and goes running at our guy, and he's going to crush his skull in the middle of this thing. We had to call an end to the scenario before he could get to him.
Too real.
It would get really real.
It just goes to show you, too, that no matter how much you know something is practice, not only can you make it a teachable moment, but when your adrenaline's going, you can't. Yep. That's why you got to train 150% all the time, because you're not going to have that dexterity. You're not going to have the thought process. You're not even going to hear the gunshot go off.
Well, let me tell you what he did. We had it set up so he comes around the corner of a building, and this action is happening almost 20 yards from him, 50 feet, a little more than 50 feet. He stopped at the corner, squared up, used the cover from the corner, and start shooting from 50 feet away. Well, the bad guy doesn't have a gun, so why are you behind cover? And what's happening is he's missing. And so the teaching point was, and we always say, well, if you're a regular citizen, you don't have any need to go forward. Well, in this case, you did, because the closer you get, the more precise your shots are, and you had better be precise when this guy's got your daughter and they're flopping around. So you just move right in on it and basically shoot him up close.
Yeah, moving to shoot is one of those things that I think a lot of people don't pay attention to in their training regimen, and I think it's important.
And he had been through training, but they had never trained to move forward.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, most people don't want to advance onto a situation.
We do teach that only because, like you said, there are situations like, what if you have to get to your kid's room and somebody's in between you and your kid's room? That's a situation where you may have to walk forward. So you have to know how to do it. And
you better know how to do it. And if you've never done it, Chris Serino, we were training with, he had a great phrase. He said, look, when the bad stuff happens, you're going to reach into your experience bag. What you don't want is to come out with nothing.
Right.
You better be able to come out with something, because that, whatever it is, that's what you're going to use.
Well, and what you're doing is, like you said, right from the files of stuff that has gone down, and you can't make scenarios too real. Like we were just explaining with that gentleman with the, trying to save his child. But gosh, if it doesn't get your heart going and confuses you, I mean, the mind game that goes on, you might not even remember how many shots you shot, when the simple question's given.
Never do.
Right. I think I shot 5. Well, your magazine's clear. I mean, you don't even realize because you're just moving.
Right.
Yeah.
Reacting.
For those who haven't seen it, let me just tell them, we're talking about the First Person Defender show. We did one last year, a whole series, and they're on YouTube. If you just do a search for First Person Defender, you can see all that stuff right there. So
that's awesome that you do that.
Yeah, it's fun stuff. It's a very, very good training. All right, guys, well, let me let you go, and we will do this again next week, whether we want to or not.
Fantastic.
Sounds good.
Thanks, Tom.
All right, you guys be safe. Have a good Labor Day.
You too, sir.
Hey, how'd you like the Gun Talk After Show? Pretty cool, huh? Yeah, we stick around after the regular radio broadcast and just have a little fun. You can get it on your computer, or better yet, have you heard about the new Gun Talk app for your Android or iPhone? That makes it real easy. Download it today in the App Store. You can use your iPod too. Join us again right here next week for the Gun Talk After Show with Tom, Jim, Michelle, and Michael. It's always worth it, and it's never boring, I can tell you that. We'll see you next week. We're hanging out at guntalk.com. Meet us there.